Election 2024, power outages will affect MPP, Asante speaking. Now, senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante, says the recent intermittent power outages will affect the new governing Patriotic Party in the upcoming general elections. He observed that the energy issues are one of the indices voters will use to determine which candidate or party to vote for. Now, Dr. Asante mentioned that the intermittent power outages during the tenure of former President John Dramani Mahama played a major role in his exit from office, as the then opposition MPP used it as a campaign tool. The elections, and I quote, that took Mahama home were fought on the basis of DUMSOR. This party, MPP, took advantage of that and drummed into the ears of Ghanaians, and it formed part of the calculations or contributions that Ghanaians made in deciding who to vote for. Remember the DUMSOR economy, which Dr. Bawumia made noise about, which was legitimate at the time, and the same legitimacy can be brought to bear on the current DUMSOR, which the government is pretending doesn't exist. Dr. Asante further criticized the government's handling of the current intermittent power outages, stating that citizens were bearing the brunt of it. He stressed that the government should admit the challenges and indicate its willingness to solve them. We feel it, we experience it. Let no one deceive himself or herself that the fact that you have not said it bluntly out loud means DUMSOR doesn't exist. It does, and nobody can deceive anybody. Governance must be handled with truthfulness. And he ends by saying, proceed with integrity. There's a problem. Just be forthright with it. Come out and say this problem exists, but as leaders, we will try and fix it. So, let's start with you, Grace.
Thank you. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to my constituency and my constituency executives especially. I traveled, I came back yesterday, and I heard that one of my constituency executives had passed. So I want to send a heartfelt condolences to his family and to the rest of the constituency, as well as my constituency executives. I'd like to commend them for all the good work they're doing for the constituency, and I know that we will win the 2024 elections hands down with their support and help. I am agreeing with, back to the topic at hand, I'm agreeing with what the professor said. Remember that the MPP rode to power, rode on the back of power challenges, as the professor said, that besieged the country in 2014 to 2015. And what they did was they used a lot of propaganda, misinformation, and disinformation. Remember Bawumia having his lectures talking about power, doing this, the DUMSOR must stop, the T-shirts of the DUMSOR, the vigil. Interestingly, today I hear there's a fight between, what's her name? Yvonne Nelson and Franklin Kujo as to, you know, the collaboration they did for the DUMSOR must stop. And now she's asking them to do it again. And I believe, you know, there's no honor among thieves, obviously, right? So now they are fighting and they don't know who should start the vigil or who should start the demonstration. Interesting, right? We didn't even know they were behind the scenes helping with the DUMSOR must stop. But it was all
but they were
part
on the
of,
streets.
No, but it wasn't an organically grown
Yvonne championed
protest.
it on her social media, and then the other, you know, CSOs at that time joined in, you know, on the streets. So she rallied her celebrities to follow her. They went out to follow her, and then, you know, members of civil society also joined in.
From what we're hearing between the two parts is that that's not what happened. What you're suggesting is that it grew up organically from what we see, it was a concerted effort. It was deliberate. They put together, they gave a bunch of people money. They got people who were, quote unquote, were supposed to be neutral to join the cause, who were not actually neutral, but were paid apparatus on the back. And then they formed this DUMSOR must stop, all in the interest to oust the President Mahama, the then President Mahama government.
That's an interesting narrative.
They succeeded, and today we're in worse power crisis, and they can't even decide to come together. Because why? Because now it is their party in power, and now they have forgotten that we're all going through even worse crisis than we did before. So they use propaganda, they use misinformation, they did all these things underground, you know, get the Yvonne Nelsons and the Imanis, who were supposed to be our quote-unquote neutrals, to get onto the bandwagon, and they ousted President Mahama. Okay, fast forward, we're here today in a worse kind of DUMSOR. But you know, DUMSOR, I'm not an energy expert, but I can tell you that DUMSOR did not even start under President Mahama. The DUMSOR crisis had been going on prior to that. You know, Akosombo, Kwame Nkrumah was about 550-something megawatts total. Valco was taking about 60%. The rest of the country was taking the 40%. Rawlings comes in, rural electrification. Ghana was growing, the population was growing. We were now using more electrical equipment. So Rawlings championed the rural electrification. Somewhere around 97, 98, 99. Then Abuadi Thermal Plant also under Rawlings came. After Rawlings, Kufuor came. Kufuor met the same kind of crisis, but you know, we all saw Kufuor's solution to those problems. He took a bunch of pastors and prophets to Akosombo to pray that hopefully maybe we'll get more rainwater. I don't even know what that was about.
Why are you leaving out the Bui project? Because he started the Bui project.
Yes, he started.
And the Bui project was part of his solution.
That is correct, but it was not the right solution, as we can tell today that the Bui is actually now has become almost like an emergency plant now. Because one, the Bui, because of climate changes and erratic rainfall, the Bui has never really reached even half of its capacity. And also because of the area that the Bui, I mean the specific area they picked for this dam, the increased reservoir evaporation is seriously affecting the Bui. So as we speak today, in terms of the total national grid and the total national megawatts for electricity, Bui is contributing almost nothing to it. So yes, he built the Bui, but the thought behind it, like in everything else, oh, that is absolutely true. Like everything else the MPP does, they don't really think through the processes. So it's all campaign propaganda, it's all sloganeering, it's all, you know, they think that all of Ghanaians can't really think far, to use a local Ghanaian word. They can't think far. So that is how they have really come into power, with a lot of lies, a lot of propaganda, and more importantly, misinformation and disinformation. So they, but when John Mahama came and he was facing this crisis, he didn't take a bunch of pastors and prophets to Akosombo to pray for more rainfall, right? What President Mahama did, he staked his presidency on DUMSOR and on the energy crisis. It had escalated because at that point now we're having more population growth. The domestic use of power had gone up. Remember back in the day, maybe the household had one TV and one fridge. Now one household would have like 6 fridges, a couple TVs, air conditions. Now we had freezers, and even just the domestic use had gone up significantly. Now you talk about industrial growth of need or industrial demand for electricity. We had now more factories. We were doing, the internet was on board. So there was a lot of things that were now demanding more power. President Mahama said, listen, I will fix DUMSOR. Prior to President Mahama, only 56% of Ghanaians had access to proper electricity. By February 2016, 80.5% of Ghanaians had access to electricity. That is how much President Mahama put into the electricity or the power grid of Ghana.
You said what, 85.6?
I said prior to him, it was 56%.
Yeah. Okay.
After February 2016, President Mahama had increased it to 80.5% of Ghanaians had access. at that time, even when DUMSOR, they gave us a timetable, right? Today, they can't even figure out what timetable. Now, Napo, I guess, is doing, you know how the lottery people, they sit down and they figure the numbers. He doesn't know which one. I'm in the Western region, and every day my light goes off. And sometimes in the same day, it goes on and off about 6 or 7 times. My defrozer is broken now. My refrigerator is broken from the power surges. Even with a power surge protector, it is still broken down. My TVs, when I checked, one of my TVs are not working now because you know that whole power surge is not good for all electronics. So that is where
mine are working. So
you're lucky. You're one of the few lucky ones because especially for those of us in the Western region, it's completely unbearable. And you know now the temperatures are really going high, and so some of us can't even function under these really hard conditions that Bawumia and Akufo-Addo has put us under. So what did President Mahama do? He put his presidency on the line. He diversified. Remember back when we were only using mainly, it was hydro power, right? That was the Akosombo and quote-unquote 1.00% of the bui.
No, but the bui was supposed to supply 400 megawatts of power.
It has never reached.
And it was supplying 250 at a point, 150 at a point.
At a point. Yeah. That's precisely the point. When the power supply is erratic, you can't rely on it.
During NDC time, we were supplying in excess of 130 megawatts.
You are saying during NDC time. So today, we're talking about today, fast forward 2024. What is the capacity that BUI is providing? That is where we are today. So I'm only talking about fast forward to today.
Okay.
No, I'm making reference to the fact that BUI is erratic. Okay. It goes up and down. It's unreliable. When you're talking about power and you're talking about something that is erratic, that means it's unreliable. Yeah. So I can't sit here and plan my day based on what BUI will provide me. So if that is unreliable, I don't include that in my calculations. That is the current situation of BUI. So President Mahama came, he did a lot of things. I mean, he added over 1,200 megawatts. Remember 550 something with Akosombo Bui, like 0.0%. Then Mahama came and added over 1,000 and something just within 3.5 years. That is the remarkable job that President Mahama, a real visionary leader, who cares about his people, who cares about Ghanaians, came to do to change the trajectory of the country. He not only did he work on the hydro part, which is the Akosombo, added more turbines and everything, and also even helped to kind of increase BUI. What he did was he diversified. So we had coal. He was looking into coal. So the Gensa Chinero mines, which also provided about 90 megawatts. There was the Vera Shenzhen Energy Company, which is the parent company of Asogli. They also added 180 megawatts with a total capacity of 1,200 megawatts. And these were all coal-fired plants. Now, he then also went into thermal. So look at the different levels of energy that this man is bringing to the table. He went into thermal energy. Aboazi, which was started by President Mills of blessed memory. President Mahama commissioned it. President Mills started it by 2010. And added 132 megawatts. President Mahama came, commissioned it, and also added. Then they went into the Pong thermal plant. That also added 225 megawatts. Then you have the Trojan thermal, which added a total of another 25. They didn't stop there. So now they've gone from hydro, they've done thermal energy. Now they went into gas, because they felt that gas was the game changer, right? Gas is coming. We have a lot under the ocean. We have a lot where they are farming the oil or they are drilling the oil. So why not use the gas? When you look at Ghana, from everything I've read, is that we have more gas actually than even we have oil. So if we have this much of gas, why not use it? So President Mahama, being the visionary and the thinking person he is, he thought about gas. Atwabo gas plant came into being. That was in 2015. And the gas plant was to supply Aboazi with about 500 megawatts at full capacity. So Aboazi, remember back in the day, they were getting gas from Nigeria. Remember that whole Nigerian gas issue
Nigerian
where
gas,
today,
WAPCO and all of
today we don't have gas, tomorrow we have gas. Today we don't have money, tomorrow we have money. Today somebody has tapped into the gas thing, the gas pipe is broken, and those were part of the problems that we were having the DUMSOR under President Mahama. It was that our gas supply was strictly coming from Nigeria. So we needed as Ghanaians to be self-sustained. We needed to be self-sufficient. So President Mahama, again, this man I think is beyond his years, thought about let's find the gas here in Ghana and let's use it to power our plant, Abuazi. So at full capacity, he added another almost 500 megawatts of just thermal energy. The Nigerians, we didn't have to rely on them. Ghana was self-sufficient, and Ghana was moving forward. Then he didn't stop at the thermal and the gas and now the hydroelectricity of President Mahama. You see, I keep talking about this man, and every time, like as a Fanti, that is what we say in Fanti. In other words, this man, unfortunately for Ghanaians, we didn't understand the man. This is the man who, you know, when we all go to bed and pray that, oh, God, please help us, bring us the leader that Africa needs. We look at other African countries like Kagame and we say, oh, bring us the leader. We all went to bed and prayed and God provided Mahama. But some of us are, quote unquote, short-sighted, that we didn't see the potential of this man. If we had allowed this man to go another 8 years, today Ghana would have been like Dubai. Ghana would have been like Indonesia. Ghana would have been like Malaysia. That is what President Mahama was bringing to the table. But of course, you know our people. So he didn't stop there. He went further and now talked about sustainable green energy. Because remember that even nationwide or the worldwide, we are moving towards sustainable energy because the kinds of energy, the hydro, the thermal, the coal that President Mahama was doing was not enough. The rest of the world was moving towards cleaner energy because now you have lower carbon because of global warming. You have low carbon footprints. So President Mahama went ahead and started with the solar. He went into solar, wind, tidal waves, and even biogas. He commissioned, the Energy Commission, by the time President Mahama was leaving, had issued 3,907 provisional licenses to 37 independent power producers for solar farms alone. That doesn't include the tax incentives that he gave for solar panels. He started the Navrongo Solar TTP plant. Remember that Navrongo is still there. It's providing 35 megawatts of energy to us. There was the African Plantation Limited project where thousands of eucalyptic trees were planted near then Brongahafu region and was providing 120 megawatts. You see the power of John Mahama that we didn't get. So this man has now diversified, he has added, and he has staked his presidency on solving DUMSOR. He didn't take us to Akosombo to bring some pastors to pray that hopefully the water will rise and the sea will part and Moses will pass over.
Are you ridiculing the power of the spiritual intervention?
I'm a Methodist. My father was the choir director and the organist in church.
That doesn't go.
I was literally born in church.
It doesn't answer the
I am
question.
a good Christian. I love my Christianity. I stick with my Christianity. The issue is that God gave us the brain to think. That is why humans are different from animals.
Okay.
So our thinking power is part of the favor of God. We need to use it. When you have an issue and you sit down sometimes when you know that all you need to do is to think far, to find solutions to real problems, to alleviate the plight of the Ghanaian that is suffering, whose company has been shut down because they don't have enough electricity. That is why God gave us the brain. So that is what I'm talking about. Thank you. Okay. So he didn't stop there. He also had the Electro-Ameri power plant. Remember, he brought the electricity. Now he's looking at electro. The Ameri power plant came. Now it hasn't been moved to. The car power today is sitting in my constituency in Inje Beach. I can see it.
I've seen it.
It's there. It's providing another car power alone is providing another 225 megawatts. plus they are Mary, that has now been moved to Kumasi. Is it the one that has been moved to Kumasi? Yes. You see, so now they're going to reassemble it. Then Baumia will come and stand there and commission the thing that is John Mahama's project and now repaint it and give it a different name, because all they do is sloganeering, all they do is misinformation, disinformation, and they just want to, they think that Ghanaians
I don't even understand what the problem is, Doc. I don't even understand what the issue is. Everybody knows Ameri was brought in by John Mahama. If you want to reposition it and rearrange the grid so that power supply is, you give a focal point to Kumasi, what's the issue?
The issue is the dishonesty. The issue is the lying. The issue
but who's
is
lied?
not. The issue is, okay, so
we know Ameri.
You have brought your plant. You
Okay.
have brought your plant. I know that, okay, I've checked my country and I need more energy here.
Yeah.
I am moving your plant. If I'm going to repaint it, and why must I repaint it and rename it? Take it to Kumasi and say, this is Mahama's Ameri. This is the one that John Mahama, the visionary leader, brought. No, but he brought it. So
yes,
there's something called plagiarism. Of course, we don't understand.
Plagiarism?
When you are plagiarizing somebody's intellectual property, it was Mahama's intellectual property that brought the Ameri.
Really?
So, yes. Even though he used Ghana's money, of course, he's the president of Ghana.
Money.
He has to
and
use
he's
Ghana's money.
Ghana.
So why doesn't Bawumia also buy one and say that me too, I use Ghana's money?
No, but if so you are saying that you cannot rearrange things.
I'm saying you can rearrange, but when you rearrange, give credit to the people that actually thought of that process.
But I don't think there's
give
anybody
credit
in
where
Ghana,
credit is due.
I don't think there's anybody in Ghana who is under the illusion that Nana Akufo-Addo has conjured a power plant from somewhere.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that their propaganda is trying to tell us that they've brought. But now that
we know that I don't think anybody is deceived in any way.
That reassures me, because now I know that Ghanaians are not, everybody is aware that the Ameri plant in Kumasi was brought in by John Mahama using Ghana money. If John Mahama can use Ghana money to bring Ameri plant, why can't you use Ghana money to do more? You are the one who has borrowed more, almost 600 billion in less than 8 years. You haven't brought half of Ameri. But you are taking president. If it's Ghana money, you have more access to Ghana money. So you have more access. Why don't you do bigger than Ameri and then boast about it? So if you're going to commission Ameri, all I'm saying is make sure President Mahama is front and center. Make sure President Mahama is the one cutting the ribbon. Make sure President Mahama is carried in a palanquin. Oh, Nanaya do. Make sure we do that. Because that is all we are saying. Give him the credit where credit is due.
You're just being dramatic.
I'm not being dramatic. I'm being truthful. Sometimes the truth hurts.
Doc, ABI.
Oh, as I'm not a market. I say, no, no, the truth is only one. There's no other truth.
Okay.
So if you are going to commission Ameri, make sure that President Mahama is there. He's sitting. Oh, Papa, you know, this man brought Ameri. So let's thank him for his visionary leadership, for his love for Ghana, for his solving DUMSOR. I would like to commend President Mahama, and we'll all sit at home and clap. Oh, Papa, why has it? Okay. But don't go and sit there and pretend as if you brought it when we all know you didn't bring it. So that's the issue with Bawumia. You know, he can't tell the truth to save his life. Even when he's not supposed to lie, he's lying. Sometimes you don't have to lie. This one, like you said, everybody knows. So if everybody knows, give the man the credit. Remember when President Mahama was going to commission something about the Bui, didn't he invite Kufuor?
Yeah.
Yes. So let him do that. We'll be happy. But he can't even fathom. So he won't do it.
Let that thing happen.
Let's bet.
All right. We're having very interesting conversation talking about the 2024 elections, and Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is saying that the DUMSOR situation will impact MPP's chances in the 2024 elections. Now, let me introduce my other guest to you, and we'll hear from her what she has to say on this matter. All right, so Lady Vera Redu, who's a member of the MPP communications team, has joined us in the studio. Lady Vera.
My dear.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Now, so before you arrived, Professor Dr. Grace Ayinsu has
I didn't
basically
finish.
tried to convince everybody that you are in trouble.
I didn't finish.
You didn't even finish.
No.
You
We have
didn't even
more
finish.
time. We have more time.
So, your thoughts on this issue, where Dr. Kwame Asante is saying that MPP's chances will be affected. Yeah.
Thank you, my dear. And I'm happy to see you once again.
Yes, it's good to have you back.
Citi TV is my home. And I'm really, really happy I'm with you and my dear sister as well, everyone here. Let me also quickly say good morning to our wonderful president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and by the grace of God, our incoming, His Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia, and all men out there who support women, and everyone else, especially your cherished viewers. You know, they've really missed me. So, with the assertion on the going round or making round and the topic, I think that first and foremost, we need to help our viewers to appreciate what the term DUMSOR is in the first place. Otherwise, we may miscommunicate or we may mislead the general public. You see, once we understand what DUMSOR is, then we can then make a good discussion. So what I understand as DUMSOR, as a Ghanaian, I know prior to NDC under His Excellency former President Mahama came into office, the Ghanaians were not familiar with that term. And so when we say DUMSOR, it's not merely about erratic power supply, I mean once in a while due to probably a localized issue or maintenance issue. We are talking about consistent, persistent, unbearable light off for not less than a period of 2 years. And under NDC, we experienced it for over 4 years. That is how come the term was couched. And so if for 7 years, Ghanaians have enjoyed stable power supply till about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and then explanations have been given that these are the challenges. Yes, that's for the challenges, they are there. And within the shortest possible time, I'm told hopefully by next month, things should be very, very normalized. And so for me, if someone says DUMSOR will affect MPP's fortune, making a definite statement, for me, it's a very unfair statement. And then why? You see, the NDC was rejected not because, and that's a fact. Ghanaians did not reject them, did not them in 2020 because of DUMSOR. One of the reasons, but now what we are experiencing is not, let's get clear.
It's not.
What is happening now?
So
the first point is it's not DUMSOR.
What do we call
the
it?
The first correction is that one, what we are experiencing now is DUMSIESIE. That is the first correction. Number two.
Wow.
Number two.
What is DUMSIESIE?
No.
Educate us because you see, I'm an Ekrapen man.
Yes.
I'm an Akan. Both my parents are Akan people. As for the tree, I understand it well.
Thank you.
Na fancy so the make up. What's the BB Duma? Or check the off?
Sure.
Washa, it's back on.
Yes.
So if my light goes off and my light comes on, now me said, oh, DUMSOR. What's the error in what I said? The reason for the off and the reason for the on, I don't care. And I don't think any Ghanaian cares because we are not engineers, we are not VRA, we are not Gridco, we are not the people behind the scenes doing the putting it off and putting it on. So we are the ones who we see it. DUMSOR is the experience, not the cause.
That is why I explained that it permeates on a context. The context where that name came from is the persistence and the level of how terrible it was for a period of time. The duration counts. If it's a definition, the duration counts. And so we've enjoyed 7 years and some months within 6-8 weeks, and we accept full responsibility that we have challenges. But then, quickly,
yes,
I need to dovetail into the topic that it will affect our fortunes. It did not affect the NDC's fortune. What affected NDC's fortune was that whilst Ghanaians were experiencing real DUMSOR in its entire definition, in addition to that, allowances of the nurses and teachers were cancelled. So these people, most of them voted against them. Now we have restored that. That accounted for that. Another thing was that embargo was placed on employment. Now employment is ongoing, and so Ghanaians will consider that. Another point is that whilst NDC introduced the 3 months pay policy, which we have come to abolish, was also in operation, these people also voted against NDC. Another thing was that whilst in our various schools we were using true and true blackboard and chalk, where even availability of ordinary chalk was not there, now we are even moving from that era to whiteboard and smart boards. We are talking about where we did not have beds in our hospitals, where at that time we couched a term called no bed syndrome. You see, so a lot of these things are counted. I quite remember at that time where students sitting for WASI exams, I mean the junior high and then the SHS exams, because they couldn't pay their exam fee, were denied. They were walked out of the exams hall. These people now are very happy because government through free senior high school has absorbed. So all these factors are counted for the loss of the NDC in 2016 and 2020. Yes, my dear.
Your numbers that you're talking about, when it comes to elections is about numbers.
Sure.
You're saying that based on your interventions in education,
health, security, I mean all sectors.
All of these impacting on enough numbers,
sure,
that it's going to protect the MPP in the election.
Sure.
Really?
Sure. Ghanaians have enjoyed so much intervention. I mean, after all what I have enumerated.
Yeah, but the tablets you are sharing, for example, the smart boards you are sharing, for example, how many schools are getting those? How many students out of those schools are getting
Everybody
those?
is supposed to get. We've just started.
And those schools who are getting them, they are not voters. So is it their parents who are going to be happy about it that they're going to vote?
I did not touch on the tablet. You see,
no,
our
you said
focus,
smart boards.
Yes, our smart boards is quite
different.
I
know, I understand.
But
that.
what I'm saying is that the interventions we are making is impacting lives positively. And Ghanaians will look at all those factors. They are not just going to look at DUMSOR. If it was just DUMSOR, NDC wouldn't have been voted out of power. But I'm talking about the quantum of mess, the corruption, the people who were jailed, the number of people who were jailed. And when you look at even the police service and the judiciary, everywhere. Now, as I speak, if you look at how we have provided logistics for the police service, you look at the judiciary, even the accommodation issues, you look at the road infrastructure, you look at railway, I mean all sectors, something is going on rigorously. And so Ghanaians are going to look at all this, including even support for businesses. Small and large-scale businesses that had collapsed under the NDC that we have revamped. They are now working, they are expanding, they are employing more people. We are looking at through NIP and then Youth Employment Agency. We are doing all our best in all sectors. So Ghanaians are going to look at all the variables. And believe you me, we are the possibility people, government and party. We believe that we can do it. We are proactive. And we solve problems. We solve issues. That is the party we are talking about. And so, yes, we accept responsibility. We say, yes, there are challenges. We are not going to say, we are dead goat, and we are that, we are that. If we even put gold on your road, you will not appreciate, so we won't do anything. Yes, we have DUMSOR because people are overcharging their mobile phones, and that is why if you can't pay, sleep in darkness. We've never made such utterances. What we are saying is that, yes, there are challenges, and we are going to fix it as soon as possible. And we have been truthful to Ghanaians. we've given them stable power for 7 years. These challenges are there. We say, yes, there are challenges. We agree. But we are assuring you that within the shortest possible time, as you trusted us some time ago and we've been able to deliver, we will surely do that. And so, per the assertion of Prof, I think that it's very unfair to say that due to 6-8 weeks of DUMSOR, Ghanaians are going
6 to 8 weeks.
Ghanaians
These lights have been going off for months.
Yeah, so
I've been experiencing lights off for
weeks,
months.
8 weeks.
No. It's been since last year.
No, not last year.
I was experiencing lights off last year. I was
So
experiencing
that
low
one is
voltage
not,
last year.
That was not DUMSOR. That was not DUMSOR. What I'm saying is that the current challenges, we accept responsibilities that we have challenges.
You're still calling it.
And we are working on it. Even for the past few days, people have testified that their power is getting stabilized, and that shows that yes, we are in control, we are in charge, we ensure that, look, we are not going to put Ghanaians into any distress, because it is our passion to ensure that Ghanaians are happy, they are comfortable, we listen, we are listening government. And so the election is not going to base solely on DUMSOR, which we've solved and we are even going to solve. And so the point is that it depends on so many variables that I've mentioned. We fix so many things. And so Ghanaians are going to look at all that in totality. And then they will appreciate us that between us and then the past, between us and the rejected past, between us and the tried failed past, between us and the same value. So that is what Ghanaians will base their decision on. But it's not going to be only DUMSOR. If your child has enjoyed free SHS, your child has enjoyed employment under us, your child has enjoyed increment of salary under us, your company has received support from us, your business has received support from us, nurses, the security agents all over have received logistics, and then their conditions have improved. These are the variables Ghanaians are going to look at, but not only on the past DUMSOR. What is happening now will be fixed, and it's being fixed.
But sure. I want you to just
fixed.
take a look at this tweet that Nonado tweeted on the 10th of October 2012. And I want you to juxtapose this to your definition of DUMSOR. Yes. This is Nonado. It's a verified account. Mr. President. And he's addressing John Mahama at the time, because this is October of 2012, which means John Mahama was now president. And he said, Mr. President, if the lights go out and come back on, just go off, whatever the reason is, and comes back on, is that not DUMSOR? And he himself hashtags Mahama must go, hashtags IEA debate, hashtags vote Nana 2012.
That's a question.
Yes. That's a question. It's a statement as well. It's a point that he's making, and he's saying that if you are arguing that it's not DUMSOR, he said when the lights go off and they come back on, is that not DUMSOR? And you are now changing the definition of DUMSOR.
The conversation is that are Ghanaians going to vote based on DUMSOR?
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's what it is.
That's the conversation, and I'm saying that Ghanaians rejected former President Mahama
for other reasons,
not solely because of DUMSOR, but because of the points I've enumerated here.
Okay.
And we have come to enhance all those things.
Okay.
And so Ghanaians are going to assess all our achievements.
Okay.
And even with the current challenge with our electricity supply, we are solving it.
Quick
That's
bites.
what I'm saying.
Thank you.
We'll move on.
It's interesting.
Yes.
I think my sister is suffering from one of the 5 stages of grief.
Hey.
Right?
Wow.
It starts with denial,
Wow.
anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So this is the first stage. The first stage is denial. You see how she spent the first 5 seconds of 10 seconds of her speech defining to us who are suffering these serious power outages the meaning of DUMSOR. I mean, Fantini, Fantini, obi kada DUMSOR cheden. And what exactly is DUMSIESIE? You see what I said before. It's the sloganeering, the misinformation, and the disinformation, right? Now, why would she explain to us what DUMSOR is? So for you to come on air instead of educating the public wants to know what has President Akufo-Addo and his driver's mate, Bawumia, what have they done to change the situation, the energy situation of Ghana? I sat here and I gave you examples of Mahama going into thermal energy, Mahama going into electrical energy, adding to the hydropower, Mahama even going to coal, going to clean energy, which is the future of energy. I gave you examples, I gave you the evidence. She's sitting here telling us the meaning of DUMSOR. Number 2, so denial. What's a boy option? Into abuano oshasa or ye denial or we are not repair. That is where they are today. So today is English language. Ask me what businesses are doing well in Ghana today. Ask me who in their household is doing better with energy today. Ask me what child that is part of this code essay that she's talking about that is doing better. Ask the security agencies what they are going through, the parking of the courts, the parking of the security agencies with their vigilantes or their foot soldiers, all that. Ask them. Go to the people and ask what is happening in Ghana. So unless you are in denial, unless you are in the first stage of grief, unless that abuano no repair, you won't come and sit here and talk to an audience that is ready to listen to what President Akufo-Addo and his driver's mate, who can't even drive, is telling us. Unless you are doing that, I think this discussion is mute. Because I don't know where she's going with this. Point out to me who is doing better with energy in Ghana. Businesses have shut down. You wrote on the ticket of we're going to change businesses. It's going to be a good business environment. Ask me what business that needs electricity is not suffering. They are shutting down. The businesses are suffering. I have a medical center. My electricity bill is unbelievable. It's almost not conducive to doing business. I'm better off shutting down the business than really even going to work. Because I'm spending more money on energy. And she's coming to sit here in today's Ghana in April 2024 to tell us that Ghana is doing better. On what index?
Thank you.
What indices? Financial, economic, medical, health, market, everything, all the indices they have filled. Look at the dollar today.
Thank you. All right,
please,
let's make progress.
Let's educate the audience.
So the NDC